welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and I think, I'm ready for spring.
Yes. Well, we got kind of a spring thing going.
Do.
We got our flowers back.
We got our flowers
spring
back.
It's going to be an early spring because the groundhog, said so. And so it is true because whatever he says is the truth.
I think it's the gospel.
Yes, actually. So,
how many times does he not see his shadow?
I don't know. I think we talked a little bit about that.
We did talk a little bit about the
groundhog.
groundhog.
Anyway, so we're headed into spring.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
And it is nice out and sunny and,
Well, my gosh, the dates, time is flying by.
Yes, it is. And I have mixed feelings about that because you all know that I like cold and I like winter. But there's a lot of fun things happening this spring and summer. And my daughter's getting married in May. And all of that's just like,
you're busy.
all the way. Like, it seems so far off when she planned it because it was like a year away, blah, blah. And then now it's like, oh, my gosh, it's getting real.
Her bridal shower is coming right up, isn't
Yes,
it?
it's in just a few weeks. So, it's just
Are you
time.
blowing it all out, or what's happening at the bridal shower?
No, simple. My daughter, she likes everything simple. Simple, simple, simple. So that is what it shall be.
I like simple. Keep it simple, stupid. It's one of my favorite sayings. I don't like to blow. It's like I love decorating all that stuff. But when you decorate, you have to put that stuff back up.
Right.
It's like just when you think I'm going to grab that one more time. I'm so lazy. Just when you think I'm going to grab that tub, you got to put that tub away.
Yeah.
I just realized I still have like my, like those things you come into your house, it's got the little hanging down things or whatever. Like the little Santa Claus or the little welcome thing that, they stick out from the house and it's a cute little thing.
Oh, yeah. Like a little sign holder thing.
So I need to, because Santa's still up.
Oh, no kidding.
I literally just took the stuff down off the garland that's lit underneath my banister going upstairs. I just took it down this week.
Oh, well,
it takes me a while because I like all that lighted stuff.
Whatever makes you happy.
I'll leave my mantles up. They're still kind of Christmassy. Not real. I do kind of just do like evergreen trees because it's winter, so it's
I bet you have your spring stuff out pretty soon.
I think because it's coming out pretty quick. Well, because Easter's in May or March this year.
Yes, March 31st is Easter this year.
March what?
31st. The
so
last
it's the
day
very
of March.
last. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't like it when it's in March.
Yes, it's usually
cold. And we talked about that too.
Yes.
And I don't understand how the moon can make one difference, a month's different, because sometimes it's like the beginning of March. It's too soon.
No, it's never the beginning of March because we talked about that too. The earliest it could ever be is March 22nd, but that won't happen until we're all dead.
Okay, okay. I was thinking it was like March 1st.
No, not that early.
But
not that early.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because that'd be really cold. A lot of times March is very cold.
It can be.
People start feeling like, oh, it's spring, and it's not. It's cold and it's snowy.
Well, to be perfectly honest, the other day when it was like 50, it's funny, like when you go from summertime and it's 50, you're freezing. But when the 50s hits after winter, people are like, I'm like, it's too soon for shorts, people.
Yeah, but there always is.
They're wearing them.
Yep.
Sam Delaney, he's a guy I went to school with, and he wears shorts all winter long.
Yeah,
shorts and T-shirts.
There's some people that do. There's actually a boy in my neighborhood that gets on the bus every day in shorts, and one of those days that we had where there was like the day after the schools had opened again because they even shut down because it was so cold, and then they went back that next day and it was so cold outside, and this boy standing at his bus stop in shorts and a T-shirt and no coat.
How was he not freezing?
I don't know. I mean, it was seriously at a point where it was dangerously cold. Like he could have gotten frostbite on his legs.
But yeah, I don't think we take that serious.
No,
your plane doesn't have to go down to the Arctic to get frostbite.
And I'm not blaming his parents because I have a feeling this boy is at the age where he's like, you know what, I'm big enough. I'm going to wear what I pick out. I don't know. I don't know him.
Either that or
I don't know his family.
He could have had it in his backpack. Who knows?
Yeah, kids.
Kids are crafty.
And my own sixth grader, I can count on one hand how many times he's worn a coat to school this year. One time. And it's not because he doesn't own a coat. And the school even sent home a thing where they were like raising money for kids without coats.
And your son was
and
on
I'm
that?
like, oh, dear Lord, please don't have the school buy my kid a coat. I promise you, he has a coat. He is a 12-year-old boy. And he's like, why do I need to wear a coat to school? Because we get there, we go straight inside.
Yeah.
And then we're there. We don't go outside. We're in the building all day. And then what am I going to do with the coat? Just hang it in my locker that's already very crowded. And then we leave the school, and you're parked right outside the front door.
This is
and
Silas logic.
Yes, Silas logic. And I spend like less than 5 seconds walking to the car, and I get into a heated car, which then I would take off my coat. Like, his logic is there, folks, and that is why I'm not worried about this child being a successful adult.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He's got common sense. But in the meantime, I was like, oh, man.
Now,
the
see,
other
I'm
people
not
that see him probably think, oh, that poor kid, he doesn't own a coat.
Bad parents.
Bad parents.
I don't like wearing coats. Now I will wear like the capes or like a shawl, but I hate wearing coats. Just bind you up a little bit. I like my jean jacket, but this thing's like really loose,
Stretchy, yeah.
stretchy, and but no, a coat doesn't. It's got to be really cold because I'm kind of like Silas. I'm literally getting out of my car's in my garage. You know,
I do wear a coat, but I really like those ones that are like a bubble coat that are super lightweight. They hardly weigh anything, but they're down, and once you put them on, they're really warm. Do you have one like that?
No,
Oh, those are nice because it's just you don't even really know you're wearing one.
No, I get them capes. Remember when we went
Yes,
shopping in
yes.
St. Charles? And I bought a couple because I like those. But then when it's really cold out, I bought a fur coat from an auction.
Oh yeah.
I got that black fur coat that comes down like mid thigh.
Yes.
That sucker is heavy, and I love that thing. I wear it to church. I feel like I'm Medea.
Yeah.
Walking it.
I was thinking like Greta Garbo or
No, I'm going
somebody
I'm going,
like that.
I'm going Medea. I'm a big Medea fan.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like I'm walking into I like that. But it's nice. But and it's big. I mean, it's a. I bought it at an auction, and it's shocking that you could find one. You know, but yeah, I love it's black, shiny.
Oh, I bet that's beautiful.
It is pretty.
I don't know that I've ever seen you wear it though, so I must not have seen you on a very cold
Didn't
day.
get cold enough.
It didn't get cold enough. Well, I don't think it gets as cold here as it used to.
It doesn't. I miss the snow. Yeah, we used to have snowmobiles, and I remember. I mean, we had we had snow. We didn't get anything. We just got a dusting this year, didn't we?
I think the snow's all coming in March. My prediction is it'll be here the third week of March.
What is it? Come in like a lamb, go out like a lion. Isn't that the same?
Yes.
With winter. Well, and then you have to have blackberry winter, right? We haven't had blackberry winter yet.
Right.
That's kind of like the last big hoorah.
Yeah.
It's only February. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Right. Who knows? We don't.
We don't.
We just like talking about what we think might happen.
Yes, because
so let's kick off the show with an ad. What do you have for us today?
Okay, well, I went to the 80s this time.
Oh, I love the 80s.
I know. I love the 80s too. Ty's going to pull it up here, and I'm going to try to find it on my phone because I can't read that far. Okay, where are you at? Here we go. Let's see here. That's that and that and that. Okay. A Coors Light.
Oh,
a
my.
Coors with who is that guy?
E.T.
E.T. If you go beyond your limit, please don't drive. Phone home.
Phone home.
I mean, come on. I love that.
E.T. phone home.
E.T. phone home. Yeah, and he's got the old, he's a bartender. Look at him.
He's got his apron on. He's behind the bar. He's got his towel in his hand.
Yeah, I thought this was quite. The Coors people were quite genius. If you go beyond your limit, please don't drive. Phone home. So this would have been the '80s when drinking and driving, people were dying. People were dying,
and there wasn't a law really to. I don't think. I wonder when that law limit went into effect. Ty, let's look that up. Where like each state, like ours is .08.
Yeah.
I wonder when that went in.
But I think Coors did a really good job with that one.
Yeah, this message brought to you by your friends at Coors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E.T. as a bartender with his little lighted finger there.
Yeah, and he's kind of smiling.
He's kind of smiling.
He's like, hey, I know you're having a good time, but don't drive home. Phone home.
I just thought that was an interesting. I'd never seen it before, and I'm an '80s girl, and I've never seen this Coors ad with E.T. on it telling you to drink. Who knew an alien would have to remind you to drink responsibly?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it. Did you watch E.T.?
Oh, yeah, multiple times.
I haven't watched it for a long, long time.
Yeah. We used to have it in the car with us as a DVD in our DVD player, and the kids would watch it over and over.
It's a great movie. I may have to hunt him down now and watch E.T.
Yeah. A little bitty Drew Barrymore in it. Little 6-year-old Drew.
Yeah.
Yes? 1935 is when the legal limit was established for drinking and driving. So earlier than I suspected.
I wasn't expecting 1935.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking like Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving. All that was like really big in the 80s.
I was thinking the 80s.
I was just kind of feeling like the 80s. Okay, that was just the date for Illinois, but probably other states were all around the same time.
So every state has their own legal
it's a state law.
Now what is it? You can't, I mean, it's like...
It's .08.
Is it still .08?
I think.
I thought maybe they dropped it down to point something else.
.00001.
.00001.
Don't even smell alcohol before you get into the car. What? It is .08.
You know what's weird? Okay, real talk. So if you've been going through drive-thrus, went through the drive-thru at CVS the other day, it has a sign, please no smoking in the drive-thru.
Yes.
Through the Dairy Queen, please no vaping or smoking through. I've noticed this. So apparently people
I've noticed it and I've applauded it because...
Me too.
No offense to you guys that smoke out there. That's fine. But... I'm a person that one little whiff of cigarette smoke gives me an instant migraine. It's like a switch just turns. And I didn't used to be like that. My gosh, I worked with Bill Oliver. He chain smoked in the back office.
Absolutely.
Like I didn't used to be like that. It was fine. But for whatever reason, the older I get, just one little bit of cigarette smoke and I go into an instant migraine. And a lot of the times when this was happening was in the drive-thru. And the car in front of me would be smoking. They'd have their window down. And half the time they'd flick it out the window, you know, and that smoke, if you're the car directly behind them, just comes right back. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, now I have a headache. And it's not a headache that goes away. It's one that I have to have the rest of the day until I fall asleep. So I had an interesting conversation with the girls at the Dairy Queen. Yeah.
So here's the deal. Here's the other thing. It's none of that. So like you're very close when you're in there.
Yes.
If you're a smoker and you blow that right out there, you're literally blowing it right in people's faces. Never really thought about it too much because I haven't worked a drive-thru in my entire life. Okay. Well, I was talking to them and it's like I said, oh, the vaping too. I said, my gosh, when people vape, she's like, you don't understand. So many people are vaping marijuana.
Oh my gosh.
So like you got these high school kids in there and she's like, seriously, you can get high in like a second because the vaping, I mean, if you got two people vaping in the car, it's almost like their car's on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's just a lot more and it's a lot more dangerous than smoking, they say.
Yeah.
But she's like, and Reba was like, oh yeah, it's like people come in here, they take a big vape, blow it out, and it comes right inside the Dairy Queen, and she's like, it's an instant high.
Oh my gosh.
Because they're vaping. You can't vape and smoke marijuana.
Yeah, no.
No, not cool, people.
Not while
you're driving.
No, really shouldn't anyway, it's my opinion, but ever.
Me too.
Unless you have a medical reason. But these kids, the vaping with the kids, the high school kids is a real concern.
It's a real problem right now.
Yes, it is.
And they say them toxins, you're putting God only knows what in your body.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about that because I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw Dairy Queen, went through CVS, saw that. I think there might even be one, I can't remember. It was just CVS. McDonald's had one too now. McDonald's, CVS, and the Dairy Queen. I never even thought about before, but yeah, they're like, oh yeah, it's an instant high right there. And we have teenage kids in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're talking about drive-thrus, I want to say something.
Okay, say something.
A lot of people don't think about it, but if you're a car in a drive-thru, I would encourage you to pull as close to the car ahead of you as possible. Some people leave like almost a whole car lengths of space between them. They don't want to get too close to the car in front of them, or they feel like they're getting ready to hit the car in front of them when in fact they have, almost an entire car length. The way the drive-thrus are set up and engineered is so that they handle a certain amount of cars. So if you pull all the way up to the car in front of you, that allows the car behind you to reach the place to order. And then they pull up, and then that allows, it's spaced, each drive-thru is spaced out accordingly to average car length. And I just feel like most people don't do that. And so it really slows down the drive-thru. And I think a lot, like for example, our local Dairy Queen always has a long line. But I do feel like if most people in the line would pull forward close, and I'm talking like I usually get between a foot and 2 feet.
I'm right.
I'm right
to the car. Bumper.
Yeah, I'm right there, and there's a reason for that, and that is so that the car behind me can make it all the way to order. That keeps the drive-thru moving and going faster, and then the line's not so long.
Yeah.
But I don't think very many people think about that.
I don't think they think about that either.
So I'm using this platform to better the world. One drive-through at a
One
time.
drive-through at a time. And on that note, we'll be right back.
Okay.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we're going to talk a little bit about a gentleman from Clay County, Mr. Ernest Elliott, who was a historian.
Yeah, we mentioned him on another episode or two maybe, and how we have used some of his writings in our research. He wrote a column in the Clay County paper in the 1960s, basically on the history of Clay County. And he himself remembered a lot of the stuff that he was writing about. Not all of it, of course, because some of it went way back. But he was born in 1898, I believe. Go for it.
Wasn't he born on my birthday, September 21st?
Oh, okay. I didn't write down the date.
He was born September 21st, 1892.
Oh, 1892. Oh, okay. See, I didn't even write down all the dates. I was trying to go by memory.
That he was born on my birthday?
Your birthday. So no wonder you love history. Apparently, that's
I think so.
Something, if you're born on that date, you just...
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Love Clay County history.
He was a Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he was born in 1892, September 21st.
And then when did he die?
December 17th, 1978. He was 86 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's a cute little man.
He is a cute little man. Let's show the picture of him. When he's that one, please.
Oh, look at him!
This guy. Look at his overalls and his button up. And,
I am in love with him.
And his cute little hat and So this is Ernest Elliott. He wrote for the Clay County paper, but he also did so much more than that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He had a really cool life, and he loved Clay County, and so he was known as the collector, and he collected all kinds of things. He collected Indian artifacts, and he collected rocks, and he had a lot of collections going on. But he was really a smart guy, and I actually ended up finding his granddaughter on Facebook, and I reached out to her because sometimes we want to report more than just facts, you guys. Sometimes, it's easy for Stacey to, we find the dates that he lived, and I can tell you about his wives and different things, but it's kind of hard to make somebody really come alive unless and personal. And if you have some memories of the person, it kind of makes it different. So this nice lady's name is Kathy Anthonat, I believe is how you would say her last name. So Ernest was her mother's father. This is her grandfather, her maternal grandfather. And she said the things that she remembers most about him are how many different kinds of collections he had, and that he always had different projects going on. So he was a busy guy. He wrote for the paper in his later years, but he was always doing something and trying to find all my paper. Here we go. I had them buried. So he started off in Montana, and at the age of 19, in 1912, he left. He's considered one of Clay County's pioneers, and they refer to him as the last pioneer because he was one of the last guys to pass away from here that had been around in these early days. And it says at the early age of 19 in 1912, he left this area that he had been living in to homestead in Montana, where he built a cabin in Culbertson, and he married a young lady by the name of Hattie Mae Powell in 1915. So so Hattie was his first wife, and they were married for 31 years, okay? And they went on to have, I believe, 7 children.
All 7 children are with Hattie.
Yes. After Hattie passed away, he remarried for just a short time to another lady, but they were only married a year. That didn't.
Shirley Graham.
Yes, Shirley Graham, and that did not work out very well. So apparently, so that only lasted a year or less, and then he remarried again, and her name was
Georgiana Wendell,
and she and him were married until. I believe she passed away first.
Did you see, I got to add this, that like his parents, his dad's name was Isaac.
Yes, and I love his mother's name.
Bathsheba.
Yeah, from the Bible, Bathsheba.
Seriously, have you ever known? I have never come across anybody named Bathsheba.
I haven't, but when you start working on like Ancestry.com,
there's a lot of them?
There were a lot of them, I think, in the like 1800s. So
wow,
okay.
I thought that was cool.
So in 1924, he and his family, which by this time was his wife and 3 of the children had been born, Victor, Elsie, and Mildred. Okay, so 1 boy, 2 girls. They left the West to return to Clay County, and his plan was to go all the way to Clay County in a homemade boat down the Mississippi to Clay County. Okay, so when you guys cross the bridge and you go across the Mississippi River on your way to St. Louis, and you look down at that river that is full of logs and debris and big barges, which even in this day and age would have probably had more river traffic than it does now.
Yeah.
And that river is so rough. Did you ever once think, I'd like to make a boat myself and take a voyage down that river?
No,
with my 3 young children.
Because, okay, let's talk about the Mississippi.
What a brave guy.
Are there, sometimes it's dry. I mean, how shallow does it get sometimes? Does the Mississippi River ever get very shallow?
No, I mean, some years it's shallower than others, but it's still deep.
Yeah.
Deep enough
but there's so many.
Fast enough that your kids would all drown in it when they rammed your homemade boat into a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think I don't like fast rivers like the Mississippi. I mean, if I was on a big boat, sure. But to get on there, even in like, we have a ski-sized boat, not a great big one, but a bigger one. I wouldn't even put that boat on the Mississippi.
And it's too scary.
And yet he's brave and he's got his family.
Like, we're just going to take the whole family down the Mississippi and go to Clay County.
But I will say that his plan didn't really work out the way that he thought it would. So he did do a portion of the trip down the Mississippi, but the boat trip ended in South Dakota after problems with the boat. And the remaining distance was done by horse and wagon. This says, I believe Kathy thought part of it might have been done by train as well. I'm not sure. But anyway, Ernest Elliott was a very intelligent person who left a legacy of historical information for Clay County. And he he was a cool guy. He served on the publication committee to republish the Clay County history book. That was something that was important to him. And he wrote a lot about local Clay County experiences and history in his newspaper column. And he even had a radio series about it entitled Clay County History in Review.
Really? He had a radio show?
I believe it was in the 70s with Rena Thomas. She also, she learned a lot of her history from him, and she was even, privileged to know him and to work with him at the radio station. So let's see. He wrote a book. A lot of his research is in the Prairie Echo 1, which you and I have talked about the Prairie Echo books before, and those are available at the Clay County Genealogical Library in Louisville. They could definitely hook you up with a copy of Prairie Echo, I believe, if you wanted to stop in there on a Saturday morning. He lived, let me find the part where he lived. He lived in a house that was, the house is no longer there, but, no, I can't find my sheet of paper that has where his house is. I'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, so he had these 7 kids, and one of his daughters' name was Elsie Marie Elliott Smith, and then that would be the mother of this Kathy that I have some information from, and then also Bob Smith. Bob owned the mill on Smith Mill on Blue Mound Road. So that was his mother as well. That was so Ernest
Bob
was
Smith,
his grandfather.
The blacksmith was Ernest Elliott's grandson.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool.
So let's see. It says he often entertained troops of Boy Scouts, school children, and adults, as well as any individual who would drop by his home northeast of Flora to chat or peruse his self-made museum. So he had a little bit of a museum there in his house. Of all of his collections. He attended Bethlehem Christian Church, which was out near where he lived. And
so we're talking out between like here in Clay City, like kind of like Ubinger's furniture out in that area.
Yeah, I'll get to it because I have it somewhere where it says that he lived. But
we'll find it.
Yes. So he was in a magazine article. He was referred to as a historian, a journalist, an archaeologist, a lapidarian.
What's a lapidarian?
One who collects and polishes stones.
Ooh.
He was a numismatist.
Okay, and what's that?
Numismatist, a coin collector.
I like just saying coin collector.
Yeah, I think most people do because you don't hear the term numismatist. And he was a philatelist.
Well, what's that?
A stamp collector.
Well, you know what? That
philatelist.
Does he have any other big words that he was?
That's the last of the big words.
Well, on that note, let's take a commercial break and we'll ponder those words.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew.
For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about a man named Ernest Elliott, who was a historian here in Clay County. He's considered the last pioneer of Clay County, and he was a really cool guy. I wish I would have known him.
And he was born on my birthday.
And he was born on Stacey's birthday. I mean,
how much? Yeah, me and Ernest.
Yes.
Me and Ernest.
I hope one day when we get to heaven, we can meet Ernest Elliott. I hope he's there, and I can sit down and have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's just a cute little fella.
He is cute. I want to give him a big old hug.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Let's take another. I think I have a couple other pictures. Let's look at a couple of those. What? You don't have my pictures I sent in? Stacey sent that one in. I sent several emails with pictures for today. Boo-hoo. Okay, my pictures didn't make it. Okay.
Your pictures are in the cloud.
Oh, they're in the cloud. Okay. Well, we can keep going. Ty might search maybe and see if he can find him while we keep going. Okay, so he was friends with Harley Bonham. Harley, we've also talked a little bit about on other episodes. Harley was another great Clay County historian. Harley loved all history, not just Clay County. He wrote on the Indians, and he wrote a lot of different things. But anyway, the two were friends. I can just imagine them sitting and having coffee at the coffee shop in the morning and the conversations that they had. But there's a quote here from his friend Harley Bonham when he wrote about Ernest, and he said, his family were pioneers of Clay County over 150 years ago, but his interests were not confined to his family alone. His keen mind was a storehouse of knowledge of other families and incidents which span the years. Hardly a question could be asked of him but what an answer was supplied. He had his mind must have been like a steel trap.
Yeah.
And his memory great whenever he thinks about other families. He had all of this history stored in his head. If you asked him a question, he knew the answer.
I just asked Beth right before, like during commercial break, it's like, you know, we have all these. We have Harley Bonham and Rena Lentz, and we have Ernest Elliott we can go to find stories. But I was like, where did he get all his information? It was in his little head.
It was in his head. It was from his own memories.
People telling stories.
Yeah, Rena goes on to say about him, a truly remarkable man who not only had a vast amount of knowledge, but delighted in sharing it with others. He passed away in 1978, and this country lost a truly great American pioneer and historian, the likes of which may never be equaled. So that's a touching tribute from two of his friends.
Well, and the thing about Ernest is like when you're reading his, I mean, he was a great writer.
Oh yeah,
he was a great writer.
He wrote in a way that was clear, concise, to the point, layman's terms, laid out all of this history. There's books at the Flora Library that he has written that you can look at. They're in the section where you can't check it out and take it home. It's considered. What's that area, the library called? I can't think.
I can't think what it's called right now.
Anyway, in 1964, he penned a family history book, which he simply entitled Stanford. So he was related to all of the Stanfords, which were some of the earliest families here.
Was a Stanford.
Yes. This contained family records on his mother's side, the Stanford, as well as allied families such as Baylor, Bissey, Elliott, Hickenbottom, and Long. The book displayed an obvious love for history, containing close to 7,000 names and over 100 pictures. This is the book he wrote.
And this book is at the library? What's it called?
Well, I don't know if that one's at the library. A copy of that one could be at the Genealogical Library. That one's simply entitled Stanford, is all it says. But no, there's copies of Prairie Echo, and there's a binder at the Flora.
I love the Prairie Echo books.
Yeah, they're at the Flora Library, where it's just articles from clippings of his articles from the newspaper that are cut out and put into a binder. So it was in 1973 that the magazine Illinois Rural Electric News wrote about his accomplishments, and they simply called him the Collector. The Collector, that was what it was called. And then they went on to talk about his stamps and coins, Indian relics, artifacts. He collected walking canes. He collected stones and rocks, and he would give a history lesson with each item. And it did say that he often entertained Boy Scouts, one of which can remember going there, and that is Tony Thomas. And he wrote on Facebook that he remembered that going there with Cub Scouts, his Cub Scouts den toured that home, and he remembers it well. It was in the early 1970s.
And Tony Thomas is Rena Lentz's son.
Yes, and he and Dawn's.
And Rena Lentz. Oh, sorry,
and
Dawn
Thomas. Rena and Dawn. We a lot of times refer to Rena because Rena Lentz Thomas, but it's Rena and Dawn Thomas. Dawn's watching the show, and he's like, "Hello, I had something to do with Tony's arrival as well." Okay, so Tony Thomas is telling us.
That's funny.
So our Cub Scouts den toured his house in the early 70s. He showed us his collections of old coins, walking sticks, arrowheads, and rocks. And I remember that he turned out the lights and shined a black light on his rock collection, and certain rocks glowed under the black light. And all of the boys were completely fascinated by all of the cool stuff that he had. So, yeah.
That's funny.
There was another person, L. Eckleberry. He grew up in the house that, this is where the house information is. Finally, I found it. He grew up in the same house that Elliott had lived in, and Elliott had put his name in the concrete on top of the cistern. It was a house about 2 miles north of where the hospital is now. So that is Stanford. That road is Stanford Road. So that is North Stanford. So about 2 miles north of there where the hospital is now. And when we lived there, it was owned by the Briscoes. And then they sold it to Britt Bailey and her husband. And now it's been farmland, bulldozed and made into farmland. And so that is where the house was. So that is no longer there. And let's see. And then let me go to some of the stuff Kathy had to say because it was really interesting. I asked her, to tell me a little bit about him, and she said if he could have lived now in the age of personal computers and had access to the World Wide Web, he would have loved that if that had existed when he was alive, because he was all about information and learning, and he was so smart. So let's see. She remembers going to his house when she was younger and him showing all of the kids his projects. And one of them was a little sapling that was growing at the edge of his property. And through the years, he had managed to tie 2 of the branches into a knot. And, as they grow, just like little by little, into a knot. So all this time, over the years, he was growing the sapling and, tying it into a knot and then have them grow back together above the knot. So he wound them so that they were slowly growing into a knot, and then he brought them back together above the knot. Just little things like that. I mean, it's an interesting guy. He did it just to see if he could do it. And I like that way of thinking.
I like that way of thinking.
Let me try. Let me just try. Just
He's
to
an
see.
inventor.
Yeah, he is. He also, this possibly could have been my favorite little tidbit of information about him. He was a quilter.
Ernest Elliott was a quilter.
And let me, I love quilting, but let me just say something about quilting. It's more than just sewing fabric together. It's math.
Oh, yeah.
It's design.
It's design. It's artistic.
It's artistic, but it's also, there's a little bit of science behind it, and shapes and geometry and that kind of thing. And I have a feeling Ernest's mind worked that way, So should I be surprised he's a quilter? No. But he made a quilt completely out of men's neckties. And that's kind of a thing that's come back recently. People have started making memory quilts out of neckties, but he made a quilt completely out of neckties, and he used a different embroidery stitch to join each tie to the next tie. So if you know anything about embroidery, there's a lot of different embroidery stitches out there, but to find enough different stitches that each of them was different from the other, he was pretty talented guy. I mean, that's just not something anybody could do. So, so he also knew embroidery. He had numerous rock projects and a huge rock collection in the upstairs room, along with a very large collection of arrowheads. So, my question to the public, and I might go back and message Kathy, what happened to his stuff?
I was going to say, what? Yeah.
Did they have an auction? I should have asked her that. Where did it all go? My daughter has a great rock collection. I'm sure nothing compared to what Ernest had. But how cool would it be if someone still owned this collection and you could visit it?
If he had the walking canes and walking sticks and... I wonder,
He had a very large collection of arrowheads, postage stamp collection, walking cane collection, and on and on and on. He was an elder at Bethlehem Church. He, in the section of the book that he wrote, the Stanford book on the genealogy, he wrote an entire section of that about what it was like homesteading out in Montana and what it was like to build the boat that brought his family part of the way to Illinois. And so I haven't read the Stanford book.
I haven't either.
I would like to.
You said it can be, but we can't check that one out from you have to read it at the library, the Stanford book.
I haven't seen the Stanford one at the Florida Public Library, but I'm guessing they have it at the Genealogical Library.
Okay.
But no, you can't check things out from there either. You'd have to go read it there.
Read it there.
And there are no photos that she knows of, that the granddaughter knows of his collections or the quilt. And I feel like that's kind of sad. I mean, photography was very much a thing, and he passed away in 78. Yeah. So of course there were photos. I would love that if someone came out of the woodwork and said, actually, yes, I do have pictures of his collection. I do have pictures of his quilt. And I wish Bob was still here to ask him. He also liked to collect things, I believe. I toured the mill one time. He had several different collections of different types of things. Perhaps he inherited that trait from his grandfather, Ernest. But Kathy remembers seeing the quilt set up in a quilting frame in his living room for him to work on. So I'm just picturing the old-fashioned wooden frames. Oh, yeah. The quilt would be there whenever you'd sit down in the evening. You didn't have a TV. You didn't turn on TV. You sat there and did some stitches. Let's see. I wonder if the river was really low the year that they tried to go down it, because Kathy said she remembers him telling her that they repeatedly got stuck on sandbars.
I would imagine.
So maybe it was just too shallow. But his wife was pregnant at the time of that trip with the fourth child.
Oh my gosh!
And they ended up stopping in South Dakota, and the baby was born on an Indian reservation there on the way. So Ernest not only took 3 of his kids and his wife on this homemade boat down the Mississippi, his wife was very, very pregnant at the time. Almost time to be due, because they only made it to South Dakota and they stopped there and she delivered the baby.
When did he?
On an Indian reservation.
Yeah, the early 19. I see he would have been. So you're talking what? Probably 19.
I don't know the year of the trip.
I mean, he would have been a teenager. He was born in 92 or 1892. 8. So then probably 10 years after that. So probably 1910s, 15s, between 1910 and 1920.
Yeah. He was a brave guy, and also his wife would have been very brave.
I'm thinking that the wife is.
She must have been quite the woman too, to be like, okay, I'll follow you. I trust you.
Sure, we'll go on this makeshift boat down the Mississippi. I'm only 8 months pregnant.
And I got 3 kids in this boat with probably no bathroom, and. There's a lot. I have a lot of respect for this guy, but the whole river story, I'm like, that's kind of a little bit insane. But he did do it, and they made it pretty far.
Yeah. Well, let's take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue pondering about Ernest Elliott. Wow.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting to work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We are discussing Ernest Elliott.
Ernest Elliott, who was a very brave man.
He
bringing
was.
his family down the Mississippi River on a makeshift boat.
Yes.
And a very strong wife who was had 3 children coming along and was pregnant and stopped at her. I mean, so like you're coming down the river, you're on a makeshift boat, you got 3 kids, you're pregnant, and then it's just like, oh, the baby's coming. You just pull over?
Yeah, you do. And you just pull over to the side of the river where there's nothing but sand and trees, and then there's a few Indians standing there on the shoulder, and they're like, hey, and they're like,
a baby coming.
You know? Like,
well, and then okay, so then I guess the relationship with the Indians
I think they were probably pretty good by that point.
By that point, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure they felt safe enough to go. And honestly, like Indians, you know, the women would all come together for the birth of a baby, and they were probably a really good group of helpful people to help her through that. You know, since she wasn't in a setting where there was, you know, a medical. Well, she wasn't in a medical setting, but I imagine that those women were probably just as talented at delivering a baby than some man that had went to school.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it all worked out great, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of them.
Which child was born on the reservation? Now you've got me curious.
Yeah,
now I want to know which child was born on the reservation.
It would have been the 4th one. Let me find my notes here.
I didn't write the children's names
down. I got
all
of the children. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It would have been Nova Mae Elliott.
So
in 1920. But she also died in 1920.
Oh.
Goodness.
Oh, no.
Okay, so it could have been her, or maybe that one had already passed away by the time of the trip. It could have been Lottie that was born in 1924. I'd have to. Did I ever say the year that they did that?
No, I don't remember you saying a year. That's because I was just pondering how it was. I said between 1915 and 1920. It's got to be in there. I would say, because he would have been 28.
Oh, in 1924 is when he went down the river. So that would have, the baby in between would have already passed away. So it wasn't the one that passed away that was born there.
Yeah, because he would have been 32 when they did that.
It was Lottie Lorraine Elliott Cooper, who was born in 1924. So she was born on the Indian Reservation, and she passed away in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, so she lived almost 100 years. I mean, she was pushing 100. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, good for her.
Good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah, so what an interesting life she had. We might have to look into her being born on the Indian Reservation. Yeah. Hey, Ty, were you able to find those pictures? Have I given you enough time? I sent them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we do have a couple of other pictures of Ernest here that Ty's going to pull up here in a second, and one of them is
I like these pictures.
Yeah, one of them he's younger in, and the other one he's older. Not as old as this picture, although I mean this one almost looks like it should be on a cover of a magazine or something, like when you talk about an old farmer or something, you know, like he just looks like he would be everybody's friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice man.
Yeah. So
Ty's pulling them pictures up. This was I really like this because these pictures came off the Find a Grave.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Find a
That's
Grave.
a great app.
We get a lot of our research off of findagrave.com, and if you're into history or you want to look up one of your loved ones, there are people that go around and attach photos to these so that you can see the gravestone, but you also maybe, not on all of them, of course, but might see a photo of what the person looked like in life. And it also gives information about who their parents were, who their children were, their spouses. So it's a free thing. It's a website, findagrave.com. There's also an app that you can put on your phone, Find a Grave. But you can actually find their parents, and then their parents, and then their parents. Here we go. Here's Ernest.
That's Ernest.
Yes. So this is Ernest Elliott in 1977. This is the year before he passed away. This is at the Elliott reunion. He was 84 years old, and Pat Smith Scott made the cake. And a few of you this is a quote from Find a Grave. It says, a few of you may remember the history articles he wrote for the Florida newspapers. And this is a quote from Bob that was his grandson. It says, he inspired me to be a collector and build Smith Mill. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know where that was taken exactly. I saw that brick building in the back.
I was trying to figure out the brick building too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But yeah, he's got his hat in his hand and he's got his
walking cane. Look at his cute little shoes. He's got some...
Oh yeah, cute shoes and his walking cane. I wonder how he determined which one he would carry that day.
I don't know. That's a great picture.
Yeah.
There's another picture, there was 2 or 3 pictures on that side.
Yep,
yeah, look at this one.
Okay, so this one is Ralph and Elsie Smith, and then Virgil Smith there on the left, and Ernest Elliott on the right. So that is Ernest on the far right with his overalls and his plaid.
The tall man.
The tall man.
He was a tall, slender man.
Yep. Got his ink pens in his pockets. Looks like he has multiple.
Yeah, I think he's ready to write.
He's ready. He's ready to write. So, so this lady there, Elsie, this would have been Bob and Kathy's mom, and I'm assuming then that is also their dad there, Ralph. So this is the parents of Kathy, the one I was talking to, and then Bob Smith, the one that owned Smith Mill. This would have been his parents. And then off to the left there, Virgil Smith. I don't know how he came into it, but that may have been Ralph's father. I bet. So,
I bet it was pictures with the dads.
Pictures with the dads. So yeah, that's a neat picture there. Ernest looks like a
picture.
Cool, smart guy. So there we go.
Was there one more picture on the Find a Grave, or was
just the same one as the one we had already had? Yeah. So.
And Mr. Elliott was buried at Foster Hill Cemetery in Clay City.
Yes.
He's Clay City boy.
Yep. He was buried over there. So, yeah, really cool guy. I'm happy to cover him because I have a lot of respect for him. He did a great job writing the history of Clay County.
Yeah, it's just, you just don't think about that mind. Like I said, he's so talented. So his basic job throughout life was farming. Was he, or did he get, I wonder if he paid to, he would have worked for the paper and got paid, but.
Yeah, that was later in life. Yeah. I don't know what he did early in his life.
Yeah, because my friend, when we was talking about the You Are from Flora, my friend Susan Hagen said, call my mom. And because Susan's dad used to farm his ground.
Oh, okay.
So I believe he was a farmer, and
he's dressed like a farmer.
He's dressed like a farmer. I believe he was a farmer.
He's dressed like a farmer. He looks like a farmer. He's a farmer.
A farmer,
probably,
and a coin collector and stamp collector.
And what were those words?
Blah, 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 blah. We don't know any of those words.
We don't know those words. So
I don't know, but I really like reading his columns. I mean, he had wrote several. He had wrote in the Prairie Echo. He wrote an article about area churches. He wrote a big article on General Parsons.
Yes.
He wrote an early history of Flora. He wrote Louisville in Review.
Yep.
So he covered the entire
He
county.
covered everything.
What a great guy.
Yep. Fantastic.
I think everybody born on September 21st is pretty awesome.
I think so too. So if your birthday is September 21st, you are
Doesn't matter
awesome.
what year.
Doesn't matter. No.
Doesn't matter what year.
No.
No. All perfection.
Yeah.
All Virgos.
Just like February 10th, my birthday, that I just had this past weekend.
You did. So are you saying how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 45.
45.
I'm 45 and happy to be 45.
That's right.
I had a great birthday.
You did have a good. Yeah.
What do you got? You going to end the show with something that Ernest would have said?
Well, I don't think he would have said this, but this one is from Aurora Greenway. It's got one of my favorite. I love music and I love dancing. Well, you know that one song, I Hope You Dance. I love that song. I like that Jim always does a lot of stuff that make the Lord bless you and keep you and make you grateful under Him so much so that you just got to dance. I like that one. This is from Aurora Greenway. Work like you don't need the money. Love like your heart has never been broken, and dance like no one is watching.
Oh, I wonder if that's where, I wonder if she said that before or after the song. Isn't that in that song?
Yeah.
No, maybe it's not.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know, but that's a really good, that's a great way to end the show. That's a good quote.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, dance like
no one's watching.
Work like you don't need money. Love like your heart has never been broken. And dance like no one is watching.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that quote.
Good job,
Aurora Greenway. I've never heard of her.
She sounds like a fictional character.
Aurora Greenway. Yeah, we talk about Ernest. I never came across like any quotes
of his. No, but I'm sure if we went through all of his articles, we could pull some.
Yeah. Well, we need to find out for sure what happened.
All of his stuff. Yeah, that if you're watching this and you know where his collections are, if they're still together, if they were broken up, if they were auctioned off piece by piece, what happened to it? We want to know. I would love to see a picture of all of it.
I would love to see a picture of that quilt. And Beth, tell people where they can see us.
We are on Wabash Channel 100 daily at 11 a.m. Our new episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. We're also on YouTube, so if you missed an episode on Wabash, you can catch us on YouTube. You simply just have to type in on the homepage, By the Way with Beth and Stacey, and our channel will come up. You click on our channel, and you will see all of our episodes we have ever filmed. And we're also on Facebook, which we would love for you to like and follow us there. It's By the Way with Beth and Stacey. And of course, you can always reach us by email at bythewaywithbethandstacey@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
We would love to hear from you. There's times that I wish the show was live so we could do call-in.
Oh, I know. That would be super cool. Because when we couldn't think of a word, my mom would call in and be like, it's blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, yeah, thanks, Mom. Like, she'd fill it in for me, fill in the blank.
Yeah, and we can't get, we're in a basement, so we can't get any cell reception.
No, we don't have any signal.
We need a real landline. But
down here.
I always thought that would be something that would be funny to do a live call-in show.
Yes, that would be fun. Maybe one day we can make it happen if, I don't know how, but maybe. I don't know.
If we could do live shows. I'm not really sure how much they edit out once we record. I don't know. Probably not much because we're perfections.
Yeah.
We're professionals.
We're professionals, yeah.
We've got this down. But anyway.
Hardly so, but thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you like our show. We have a great time doing it.
We enjoy
and we will see you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.